Okay? Sa division of infinite limits, infinity over infinity is indeterminate. Ang sabi ko, paano ko ang numerator ay mas malaki kay denominator? Mas mabilis mag-increase kay denominator. Or what if the numerator decreases slower or increases slower than that of denominator? O mas mabilis si denominator kay numerator? Or what if pareho sila? These are some of the cases. Okay. If the numerator and the denominator, number one, the numerator and denominator have the same degree or highest power, the ratio of the constants of the term containing the highest power is the limit. O, diretsuhin na natin class, ito siya. 1/7. Ang sagot dyan ay 1/7. Yan na siya. Kunin mo lang daw yung ratio ng highest, pinakamataas exponent nila. O ito din, di ba 11 ang highest? O negative 4 divided by 12. Negative 4 divided by 12, the answer is negative 1/3. Yeah, the answer here is negative 1/3. Can you follow? Is that faster? Di ba? You don't need to do the long process. Kaya nga dun sa performance task nyo, kahit hindi nyo na ipakita yung long, the long process. Another example is if you have x raised to 29, let's say 9x raised to 29 plus x raised to 15 over 10x raised to 29 minus 1, and the limit of that as x approaches, let's say, positive infinity. O ang sagot mo lang dyan ay 9/10. The answer is 9/10. That now is the limit class. Yun na yung sinasabi niya. Yan ang sinasabi ng group. If the numerator and denominator have the same degree or highest power, ang ratio, tingnan nyo to. Ratio is the quotient. It is the simplified, no, of the constants. Constant is the numerical coefficient of the term containing the highest power will become the limit. That makes it 1/7 for number 9. Kasi ang x raised to 5 sa numerator, 1 ang kanyang numerical constant, numerical coefficient, and 7 naman sa denominator. In the next example, we have negative 4 and 12 giving you negative 1/3. You see, it's very fast. So, another example, tagka ko ng iba pang example. So, hindi mo na kailangan pang by inspection class, nakikita mo na pareho na sila ng degree. So, you have the clue, same degree rule. So, sige nga, ibigay niya nga sa akin kung ano ang sagot nito. Let's say you have this. So what is your answer here? What is the limit of square root of 2x raised to 11 minus 91x raised to 15 over 3x raised to 15 minus square root of 3? By inspection, titignan mo kaagad at kapansin-pansin na ang kanyang exponent ay pantay ang exponent highest ng dalawa. So kukunin mo na ang numerical coefficient. But always remember that's negative. So it means the answer is negative 91/3. That is the answer. Okay, that's how quick it is when you are solving same degree sa numerator at denominator. Now we move to the next case. If the degree of the denominator is greater, d is greater than numerator, then the limit is 0. Second, kapag mas malaki ang denominator, degree niya, kaysa numerator, 0 daw ang kanyang limit. So, tinan natin. In number 11, makikita mo, this is 7, this is 11. Mas malaki ang degree ni denominator kaysa kay numerator, 0 kaagad yan. Without so much, pero pag nakikita mo yung proseso, ito yung proseso, no? What we do on the numerator. What do we do on the numerator? Ilabas natin yung degree. X raised to 7. And then, dun sa number 11, ilabas mo ang highest, x raised to 11. Ano ba yung sabi ko kanina? Okay, paghiwalayin ko, class. Ang sabi ko kanina, kunin mo yung highest. O, dito naman sa 4x raised to 11 plus 3. Kunin mo din tong highest. So kung kunin ko ang highest sa numerator, kunin ko din ang highest sa denominator. Magka-cancel-cancel na yan, class. Using the rule of exponent. 7 and 11, ano matitira? Magiging x raised to ano ito? X raised to 4, right? This will become 1. So 1/4 x raised to 4. Pag finactor out mo yan, ilabas mo yung 1/4. Ang may iwan naman sa isa is 1/x raised to 4. Kaso ano lang sabi mo? X approaches negative infinity, sabi niya. At anong sinasabi ng infinity? 1/negative infinity is 0, sabi niya. Okay? So what will happen now? 1/4 times 0 will become 0. Yan na yun. Yun yung breakdown nito, class. Hindi na natin kailangan pang pahabain ng usapan sa ganyan. And hopefully, pagdating ng assessments, hindi kayo matakot sa ganyang problems. Tignan mo lang ang denominator. Tignan mo ang numerator. Mas malaki ang denominator kaysa numerator when it comes to the exponent, highest, or the degree. 0 lang daw yan, sabi niya. Pero, pakatandaan, paano kung halimbawa nagdagdag ako ng isang number dito? Paano kung nag-plus ako ng 2 dito? Anong sagot? What do you think is the answer if I add 2 there? May please comment your answer. 5 seconds. Anong sagot nyo kung nag-add ako ng 2? The given. Tama yung sagot nyo kanina. The answer really is correct. Nakikita ko yung sagot nyo. The answer is 2. Tandaan nyo yun. Dahil constant siya, wala siyang epekto. 0 plus 2 will become 2. If and only if you add 2 here. So can you just imagine it? Kasi 0 ito. Iba kasi yung kwento ng infinity plus 2. Yan yung infinity labaga pa. Kung 0 plus 2, you're dealing with real numbers, the answer is 2. O huwag kayo ma-conscious dito sa dalawa. I mean, do not misinterpret 0 from infinity. Because 0 is still a number. When you add 0 to another number, we call that one as reflexive property for addition. That adding any number to 0, I don't know if 0 property, I do not remember it well. Pero ang sinasabi niya, it's a reflection. 0 plus 2 is 2. Ang advice ko sa inyo, huwag niyong misinterpret ang infinity kasi napansin ko noon, even before. They thought of 0 pa rin ang sagot because 0 plus 2 is 0. Yun ang iniisip nila. Wrong! Because nawala na sila. Naisip nila na, ay 0 is a number. And when you add 0 to 2 is 2. Ang nasa isip nila, infinity. But infinity plus 2 is not 0. It's infinity that means to be infinity. Okay, di ba ang saya? Saya ng ganitong problem. But anyway. Okay, number 12. Tinan nyo. 9 versus 8. Denominator is greater than numerator. The answer is 0. So what if minus ako ng 3 dito? Anong sagot? Comment your answers. I can see your answers very quickly. Well, ihasain nyo. Hasain nyo, class. Okay? You always practice. So what if I subtract 3 there? What will be the answer? Definitely negative 3. So 0 minus 3 is negative 3. Oh, kasi nag-minus ka ng 3. Okay, balikan natin yung una. Anong sabi ng una? Kapag ang numerator at denominator ay pareho, kunin mo lang daw ang ratio ng numerical coefficient. The constants of the term, we call them as the numerical coefficients, class. As we go back to the basic terminologies that you have back junior high school, numerical coefficient, literal coefficient, something like that. Parang bumalik lang tayo doon. Pero the constants of the term meaning the numerical coefficient. And yun ang sabi ng first rule, no? Pag pareho sila, ratio ng kanyang constant numerical coefficient. Pero kung mas malaki ang denominator kay numerator when it comes to the degree, then what will happen? 0 daw ng kanyang katumbas. Pero tandaan mo na kapag biglang nag-add ka ng constant, Dahil 0 yung isang term. This is per term class. This is the first term. This is the second term. Kung nag-add ka ng 2, ang ginagawa ni first term, nagsi-0 siya. Pero si second term, constant. Walang pagbabago sa kanya. So, 0 plus 2 will become 2. Okay? O tulad din yan, number 12. Kunwari, nag-subtract ako ng 3, then the answer is negative 3. However, if I remove negative 3 as we go back to the original problem, then that must be simply 0. Okay? O sige, try nyo nga itong sagutan. I'll give, parang interesado ako kung naintindihan. Ulitin natin. The two, when numerator and denominator's degree are equal, then that is the ratio of the numerical coefficients. But if the numerator and the denominator's degree is greater than the numerator, then you get that will become the 0. Sige nga, may you please try to answer this. What is the limit of x negative x raised to 91 plus 3x raised to 102 over x raised to 51, no, minus 8x raised to 102 plus 3. As x approaches infinity. Okay, so these two items, let's have a quick try. What do you think is the answer for number 1 and the answer for number 2? Naglagay lang ako ng constant dyan, konting pangpagulo, and I'm giving you 20 seconds to provide your answers. Let me know your answers. Okay, so nakikita ko na yung inyong mga sagot. Very brave, no? You always practice that class, and hopefully pagdating ng exam, hindi niyo makalimutan. Practice, practice. Read always. Balikan niyo ulit. Tingnan niyo ulit. Okay? And you absorb the technique. Kasi pagdating ng exam, like kung nagsabay-sabay na sila. But anyway, we have series of sessions by next week ulit, week 9. But on this week, ang dami nating sessions. Abang-abang lang kayo sa time. And when you are free, always enter. It really helps to engage to such review sessions. Okay, so let us now answer the following. Again, it matters to do an inspection for you to be able to identify the necessary technique. No? You notice that this is rational. Ang rational functions class, very sensitive. Very sensitive ang rational functions. Oh, 102, anong sabi natin? When denominator is equal to numerator, in the degree, you get the ratio. Or what is the ratio of 3 over negative 8? Kunin mo yan. So that this will be negative 3 over 8. Kaso, nakalimutan mo, there is 3 here. So you need to add 3. So what is negative 3 over 8 plus 3? Cross multiply. Kung wala kang calculator, pwede kang cross multiply. 8 times 3, 24. So, ano mangyayari na dyan? That will now become negative 3 plus 24 is equal to 8. Okay? And that is positive. The answer is 21 over 8. Very good. Kikita ko yung mga sagot niyo. Very good. The answer is 21 over 8. And what about in number 2? By inspection, nakikita mo, I'm using another color, you see that 11 is greater than 9. denominator is greater than numerator in the degree. I'm just using d greater than n to indicate that we're referring to the exponent, to the degree. I'm not into the variable d. D is denominator, n is numerator. I'm just using these initials or small letters. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, yung lahat ng ito, magiging 0 lang ito. So, 0 plus 1 half is 1 half. Your answer must be 1 half. Okay, very good. I see how many answered 1, 2. Oh, diba? Why is the number decreasing? Kukunti yung nag-a-attempt. Okay. Siguro ang gawin ko magbigay ako ng incentive sa mag-a-attempt. Okay? Sige, tinan natin. Now, kung napansin nyo, class, hindi ako nagbigay ng ng rational functions. Okay? But then, it always falls sa 0 pa rin naman. I mean sa radical functions. So kung halimbawa, let's say number 3, you're going to have 1 over square root of x, no? Plus 1 minus 1 over x. And let's say as x approaches, what is the limit of that? As x approaches, let's say this is plus positive infinity. So ano mapapansin naman natin dito? Magiging 1 over infinity plus 1 over infinity, positive, no? The answer here is simply 0. Kasi ito naman ay magiging 1 over infinity form, which is simply 0. Because yung square root of x ay magiging square root of positive infinity. So positive infinity plus 1 is positive infinity. The answer is 0. Okay? We still have another rule here. So ang rule naman na ito, ang sinasabi niya, if the degree of the numerator is greater than the denominator, ito naman, interesting naman ito. When d is less than n, or when n is greater than d, they're just the same. Then the limit is infinity. Paano kaya yun nangyari? Okay, parang sinasabi niya kasi class, tinan mo, pag kinuha mo yung dalawang pinakamalaki ang terms na nasa kanila ang highest degree, highest exponent or degree. Kunin natin 4x raised to 4, 1.5x raised to 3. Dito pa lang makikita mo na magiging x na lang yan. And this becomes 4 over 1.5. And this is positive infinity, so this will become 4 over 1.5 times positive infinity. Kaya ang naging sagot ay positive infinity. So ang ibig sabihin nito, class, maging conscious ka kung positive ba yan or negative infinity, yung ginagawa ng limit at infinity. Kasi dito ang sinabi sa rule is infinity, hindi yan sinabi kung positive or negative. Now, for you to be guided, you should always observe, number 1, the limit at infinity. Obserbahan mo to. Is it limit at infinity? Okay. Number 1, is that x approaching positive infinity or negative infinity? Kasi, syempre, in the substitution, in the final determination of the behavior, it always matters to observe that. Pero kita naman natin that's positive infinity. So, in performing the operation, kung ano ang napapansin niyo dito, class, dinidiretso ko, no? This is really the process. If we make use of the process for factoring. Pero ang ginagawa ko na ngayon, kunin mo na yung dalawang may highest exponent at mag-lowest term ka na, nag-breakdown na, ito, gawin mo ng infinity. Isn't it, fina-follow niya pa rin naman yung process. So, no? What I want here is to share the faster way which I believe can help you para yung oras yung siguro when it comes to answering the video. Di ba? You maximize. Hindi yung 10 minutes ka na sa isang problem din. Imagine yourself answering a single item sa 10 minutes, no? Okay, that's a burden. Now, let's have here number 14. Sa number 14, nakikita natin na mas malaki ang exponent, ang power ni numerator kaysa kay denominator. Okay, kunin mo tong dalawa. Bring down negative 3 over negative 9 and you have x raised to 6, x raised to 3. Lowest term, this will be 1/3. And 6, Okay, power, ano lang to exponent rule. Hopefully, huwag kayong malito sa exponent rule. 6 minus 3, 3. So this will be x raised to 3. So you have 1/3 times x raised to 3. X raised to 3 o negative infinity raised to 3, 1/3 ito. Wala na to. Kasi positive itong 1/3. Hindi na niya maapektuhan si negative infinity. That remains to be negative infinity. Kaya the answer here is negative infinity. Isn't it cool? Isn't it quite amazing? Parang, ay, ganun pala. Maybe that's your reaction. Pero saka ko lang yan naintindihan when I really have to check the individual problems. When I read as many problems like that, there I know na I see the pattern. When you are having a shortcut because you observe a pattern, don't you know that searching for a pattern is another way for you to have a rule? Kaya ka nagkakaroon ng rule kasi nakita mo yung pattern. That's the beauty of searching for a pattern. And for a student like you, most especially this kind of subject that requires a lot of writing, it matters to take a look into a pattern. At pwede mo siyang gawing shortcut for you. At kapag napatunayan na totoo yan sa lahat, that's already a good sign that you are creating a rule. Isn't it? Okay? Let's try to combine them all. X raised to 11 minus x plus x squared over x raised to 7 minus x raised to 4 plus 6x as x approaches positive infinity. But before we answer that one, we have to understand again the three cases. When d is equal to n, what you're going to do, get the ratio. When the denominator is greater than the numerator, 0. When the numerator is greater than denominator, infinity. Infinity, ibig sabihin, you have to determine the final sign. Is it positive or negative? Okay? So, tingnan natin. Dito sa unang term, ang makikita natin, we have 11 and this is 4. So, the numerator is greater than the denominator. So, ang gagawin natin, ibaba natin yan. At yan ay magiging x raised to 5. Negative. So, pag kunin mo to, positive x raised to 11. Sige, sulat ko. Positive x raised to 11 divided by a negative x raised to 4. Yan siya. Minus. Okay? This one is limit as x approaches positive infinity. Ito naman, they are the same. So, ratio. 5 divided by 1. Yeah, 5 over 1. Now, to continue, okay, you now have negative 5. Okay, tapos yung isa naman, we have the limit of 11 minus 4. Isn't it 7? So x raised to 7. And this becomes x approaches positive infinity. Okay, but there is a negative sign there, so it plays here negative sign. Okay, tama ba? 7, 11, negative. So I think that's missing on that part.